Eating is probably the most important thing that we do as humans. It gives us identity, it gives us purpose, and it's a sign of maturity. Like in school, when they used to tell us, if you could teach it, then you know it. And so they used to give us assignments so that we can teach our classmates whatever it was that the lesson was that day. So I think it's time that as a collective, we start creating more and we stop consuming. We begin to trust ourselves with what we have amassed within ourselves, both the physical experience and the technical knowledge that we've acquired. Because if we look at it in a way where we consider the state of the world and what we have access to as a collective, we really have such an endless amount of knowledge and connection nowadays at our fingertips, right? So we've consumed so much in recent times and since the 90s or 80s that most of us have a pretty good idea of what it is that we need to be doing in the world. We're just afraid to do it. And that fear manifests as uh, being sleepy, being hungry, postponing things until the next day, when really doing that thing that we know we need to do, that we know defines us and gives us our identity, is what makes up our lives in the moment. But we choose to postpone it. We choose to grasp onto comfort. That's when we lose our identity and we start becoming somebody who we don't want to be. Not only because of comfort, right? But because of all the things that we let get in the way of doing what it is that would make us proud of ourselves, right? And so that plays into today's identity crisis. A lot of times we just feel lost, and it's because we're not physically executing the tasks that need to be done to fulfill our purpose. And it's not about searching for purpose, in my experience. It's about defining your purpose. Through that definition, which requires action, we build our identity, right? And ultimately, that leads to maturation, right? I've asked older people what it is that happens when you get older, when you, I don't just mean 30s and 40s, I mean 50s, 60s, and 70s. And the overwhelming and kind of funny answer that I've gotten is that you just stop caring, right? Things start losing meaning or importance, and then others start gaining more importance and meaning. Life becomes more bold for you in some areas that really matter to you, and then kind of fine printed on other areas of life. They just become fine print, the stuff that you don't really care about, the stuff that you don't really read, the stuff that you know is there and has some useful information and that you'll visit if you need to, but only if you really need to, right? Like you don't fix your car before it needs fixing a lot of the time. And there's something to be said there about the difference between those who are proactive and those who aren't, and those who take interest in that fine print throughout their entire lives, because being a lifelong learner is extremely important, right? In maturing. But it's not just about consuming everything. Once we mature, we become more precise about what it is that we consume and also what it is that we create. But I feel like people don't often get into that mode of creation. And there could be many reasons for that, right? It could be, again, a lack of identity and the concept of a lack of purpose. But we don't get the purpose without action, and we don't get the identity without action. So it's literally about going at it every day, whatever it is that you do, whether it be our jobs that we do, or trying to understand something we read, or being in that relationship, whatever it may be, trying to get good at something or getting good at something, right? Any one of those things can define us. It can highlight our purpose. It can highlight our identity and give us that undertone of maturity as time goes on. But we really do need to allow time to go on while we take action. We embody our purpose and we ultimately define our identity. And eventually that's what we need to instill in our children, is not just to have them consume the information that they get in the world, but to also put it to good use. And that's probably where fellowship and apprenticeship have their place. But it starts with us and our ability to take action, to fortify, define and fortify our identities. Let the world define our purpose for us. Let the world look at us like an object if they want to. But as long as we take action, we'll know who we are. We will define our purpose, and in that process, we'll find maturity as as we become the elders, keepers, and leaders of our generation. So I'd love to get some ideas and comments flowing so that we can build off of each other's experiences. That would be a really beautiful thing. And I'll see you guys next time.